I have always been a great dreamer. In dreams, I am more active than in my real life, and these shadows sapped me of health and energy. For years, I have been unable to distinguish between what I experienced in these dreams and in real life. The worst of these dreams, from which I awoke half mad, had to do with a murderous assault on my father. An odd urge prompted me to play once more the childish games of my earlier years. I was playing, so to speak, the part of someone younger than myself, someone still good and free, innocent and safe. My heart swelled ecstatically at this opportunity to luxuriate in the release of a long pent-up need for acknowledgement from an older boy. Out of sheer nervousness, I invented a tale about a robbery in which I had stolen a whole sackful of apples. Whether my crime was stealing or lying was immaterial. I felt acutely that new offenses were bound to grow out of this one offense, that I was living a lie concealed deep inside myself. These impulses always came from the other world and were accompanied by fear, constraint, and a bad conscience. They were always revolutionary and threatened the calm in which I would gladly have continued to live. Many people experience the dying and rebirth, which is our fate, only this once during their entire life. Their childhood becomes hollow and gradually collapses, everything they love abandons them, and they suddenly feel surrounded by the loneliness and mortal cold of the universe. Very many are caught forever in this impasse, and for the rest of their lives cling painfully to an irrevocable past, the dream of the lost paradise, which is the worst and most ruthless of dreams. The question remained, was I eventually to become a good son and useful citizen, or did my nature point in an altogether different direction? I was a full-grown man, and yet I was completely helpless and without a goal in life. Only one thing was certain, the voice within me. I felt the duty to follow this voice blindly wherever it might lead me, but it was difficult, and every day I rebelled against it anew. What I missed above all else was a friend. I was regarded by and large as a hopeless rebel whose ground was slipping from under his feet. Often I felt a great longing for Demian, but no less often I hated him, accusing him of having caused the impoverishment of my life that held me in its sway like a foul disease. I had no idea where he was, nor how I could reach him. I could not have cared less what became of me. In my odd and unattractive fashion, going to bars was my way of quarreling with the world. This was my way of protesting. I was ruining myself in the process, but at times I understood the situation as follows. If the world had no use for people like me, well, in that case, people like me would go to pot, and the loss would be the world's. In spite of everything, I almost reveled in my agonies. I had been blind and insensible, and my heart had been silent for so long, had cowered impoverished in a corner, that even this self-accusation, this dread, all these horrible feelings were welcome. At least it was feeling of some kind, at least there were some flames, the heart at least flickered. Confusedly, I felt something like liberation amid my misery. My life was wrecked. I thought of running away and never coming back, or of drowning myself. You wanted to commit suicide? He trembled with cold and fear. Yes, I wanted to. I don't know whether I would have been able to. As always, as soon as I had become accustomed to my condition, as soon as a dream had given me hope, it wilted and became useless. It was futile to sorrow after the loss. It seemed that I was destined to live in this fashion. This seemed my preordained fate. I yearned for it, but feared it at the same time. It was ever present, hovering constantly above me. I traveled restlessly from place to place, following every impulse, always searching for this woman. There were days when everyone I met reminded me of her, echoed her, seemed to resemble her as in an intricate dream. Where we have given of our love and respect not from habit but of our own free will, where we have been disciples and friends out of our inmost hearts, it is a bitter and horrible moment when we suddenly recognize that the current within us wants to pull us away from what is dearest to us. Then every thought that rejects the friend and mentor turns in our own hearts like a poisoned barb. Then each blow struck in defense flies back into one's own face. The words disloyalty and ingratitude strike the person who feels he was morally sound like catcalls and stigma. For the first time in my life, I tasted death, and death tasted bitter, for death is birth, is fear and dread of some terrible renewal. At any moment, this happiness could produce in me the deepest melancholy, for I knew very well that it could not last. It was not my lot to breathe fullness and comfort. I needed the spur of tormented haste. I felt that one day I would waken from these beloved images of beauty and stand, alone again, in the cold world where there was nothing for me but solitude and struggle, neither peace nor relaxation, no easy living together. I dared not think of it, but clung to each beautiful day as the butterfly clings to his honeyed flower. This had been my happy time, life's first fulfillment, my acceptance into this circle. What was to follow? I would battle through again, suffer the old longings, dream dreams, be alone. Everything that has happened to me since has hurt, but sometimes when I find the key and climb deep into myself where the images of fate lie aslumber in the dark mirror, I need only bend over that dark mirror to behold my own image, now completely resembling him, my brother, my master.